I'm doing sort of a get ready with me this morning, and I want to talk about something that we haven't talked about, and it's been completely out of my mind for years. But I'm going to talk about the circus, the Ringling Brothers, the Barnum and Bailey circuses, the ones I remember in Madison Square Garden as a child, the ones I remember taking our own children to out here in the West, and all sorts of different types of circuses. But right now, I want to talk about some things. This is the e.l.f. Soft Glam. It's one of those creamy, liquidy type of foundations that I've come to the conclusion are the best for mature skin. And really, it's all about the wrinkles, the lines, and what gets stuck in there and what doesn't. And I think that this is probably one of the solutions. Now, as you can see here, the color is different. It's not like my color changing foundation where I put on the white makeup and it just blends right in. Actually, you really don't have to put much of this on at all. But I do think that the creamier, the more liquidy, the better, with more mature skin is the way to go. And other than two things that I did like as I review all the different things that I have, you know what, I'll go down a little. My neck looks kind of white, so I'll try and fill it in a little bit. I have one of my turtlenecks on today. It's one of those cold, foggy days. Now, as you can see, my face is definitely not my own color. That's the beauty of the white makeup, that color changing foundation. You put the white on and the little capsules get broken up as you push it in, and it adapts to your own colored skin. So don't be looking for that with this makeup. This was a color, and it's that e.l.f. Glam, which I have loved. Now, I've gone through so many of my different makeups. I have so many of those. I've got to put my eyeglasses on here. By the way, I'm putting my hair in curlers today. It's just those it's not heated curlers. It's just a few curlers. Now that it's a bit shorter, I can give it a little bit of curl, but I don't want to use too much heat anymore because as you know, my hair is quite dry and thin, and I don't want to damage it anymore. So this e.l.f. Soft Glam definitely was a winner with many of you, and it's one that I'm keeping in my kit. The other one that I've come to the conclusion is a winner is that CC cream. And the CC cream, as you can see, is really very liquidy when you push on it. Now, this is funny because when you push down on this, and it took me a while to discover this, you have to push the applicator into that. This is some kind of a cover here with little tiny holes in it. And I didn't notice it at first. You push it down in, and the liquidy foundation comes up in the holes, and you put it on from the inside of your face to the outside. This CC cream was another good one, and it's creamy. So any dry powders or any of those makeups that you feel might be a little too much, they get stuck in those lines. And I'm talking about the lines around your mouth, your nose, up here by the eyes, and if you have any 11s or lines in your forehead. Now, I think that's enough for now. Let me continue this. Since I've already put this Soft Glam, e.l.f. Soft Glam on, I'm not going to take it off. I would have gone with something lighter today and all the time, quite frankly. Maybe in the summertime when I want to look like I have a tan, I would go with a darker color. But this is what I'm sticking with now. So I'm just going to put my e.l.f. Sleigh Rose, Sparkling Rose it's called. Yeah, I'm just going to put this on. I'm only going out to CVS. I have to pick up some medications, and I do have to go to Vaughn's and get a few things. Moosey's diet is beginning to change a little bit, and I think they are getting ready to put him on a pill that has taken a while to get us approved for, and that's what Mikey has been helping us with. Thank God for kids that help you out here and there, honestly. So I'm just fixing myself up to go out of the house. I'm laying low on those days when we don't have anything. I am doing the least amount possible around the house. I'm not one of those that has to be bustling around the kitchen. I know it looks like it's sometimes cooking and everything. Nope. There's some things that I'm doing the easiest way out, and a lot of soups. They're so easy for me to make, and they're good for both of us. And also, I don't have a dishwasher, and my silverware builds up and I'm not worrying about it. I'm being real cool, mainly because a couple of nights ago, I had what I would call a little mini attack, a panic attack. Thank God I pull out of these things fast, but that's why I don't sleep. I've figured that out. There's too many things that are overwhelming me right now, and it's all the appointments and paperwork for this and that and whatever. And I do have the kids involved. Please don't tell me, get my kids involved. They are wonderful about everything. And working with this one woman now on getting approved for this drug, very expensive drug. Mikey is handling it all, thank heavens. So that's off my mind. Once I got that off my mind, last 2 nights, I've probably slept 6 or 7 hours, and that's a lot for me. All right, where are we here? Early in the evening, of course, we've been watching, speaking of TV, in fact, Moosey should probably come in. He's missing all this because those Dodgers won it. Now, I have to admit, the Blue Jays, honestly, it was such a fabulous World Series. Each team outplayed the other team. One would outplay, the other would outplay. That's the way it went. So I'm so sorry that the Blue Jays, I know they wanted to win it so bad, but of course we're Dodger people, so we won. And today is the big celebration. Actually, they've been celebrating all over. We're up on a hill here, and the fireworks the past couple of days have been louder down in the valleys, all the way to LA one way and all the way the other way. The fireworks going have been nonstop. Isn't it amazing that this is such a big Dodger land out here? Utterly amazing, isn't it? Okay, where are we here with what? Let's put some glow. You know I love my glow. Anyway, to get to one of the discussions that I'm going to talk about today, besides the foundation, I did get our bill. Of course, I've been watching for bills and trying to save. We've gone kind of paperless. Moosey really does most of it, I guess, through the bank and on his phone. So we don't get a lot of those things. And I'm trying to get together our expenses, and so that I'm more familiar with everything. But it's hard when nothing comes in the mail. So a few things have come in the mail, and I'm starting to get that together, mainly for Mikey. He keeps track of a lot of things. But last night, I was flicking the television around. By the way, the bill came for our Spectrum, and you wouldn't believe how expensive it is. We've tried to reduce that a couple times, but because Moosey likes all the different kinds of sports and he has various other things on there, it's high. I could care less if I ever turned the television on, honestly. But somehow, flicking through last night, I found a movie at 9 o'clock. And I was in bed, and I just kind of didn't want to do any more social media. I didn't want to be on the phone or the iPad. And it was a movie just starting called, I don't want to get this wrong, oh my gosh, I didn't think I'd forget it now. Here I have. A movie starring Hugh Bateman and Michelle Williams. It was made in 2017, and I've heard people talk about this movie before. As a matter of fact, I thought I had seen it, but I hadn't as I was starting to watch this. But I watched this until 12 o'clock, and when Moosey came in after his sport was over, whatever he was watching, he got involved in it. And it was mesmerizing. It was a half musical, half not. I know a lot of you have probably seen it. And it was all about the Barnum and Bailey beginnings of circus life, and all about the circus and of how it evolved and the relationships between Barnum and then when he took on his partner. I don't want to give it away if you haven't watched it. I'm not crazy about TV at all. We used to go to movies, not a lot, but good ones. And other than a few things back in the day, I just can't get into anything good on television anymore. But this was riveting, and it went on until midnight. So I didn't start my sleep till midnight, but I had, other than getting up once or twice to go to the bathroom, I went right back to sleep again. No phone, no iPad in between. It was wonderful. And I somehow, some of the things that were on my chest that I was worrying about had lifted, and thanks to the kids. And I slept. And that's what I need to feel good. Now, the other thing, if I can only get over the constipation, I'll be in okay shape, right? Oh, the woes of mature years. So, before I get started on the movie, and I want to talk about the circus and my experiences with the circus, and I want you to tell me about your experiences with going to any circuses in your life as a child or with your children, with your grandchildren. But I do want to tell you some of the other things that I have here in my little arsenal. When I first started using makeup, I used this e.l.f. primer, and it was lighter and it was liquidy, and I loved it. And that was when I was learning just a couple years ago. I started makeup at 82 or something or other, and never really wore foundation. All eye makeup and lipstick and rouge, but never foundation for all those years. Can you believe it? Just my Nivea or something like that on my face. I was lucky it lasted for quite a while before my brown spots and my Jersey Shore, everything started to get in. Do you like my shine on the cheek? I just love a little bit of shine, and I think I'm getting to the point where maybe I can keep the rest of the face not too shiny, but just have it on the cheeks and a bit on the nose. Yeah, I don't like it too dark up here. And I have all of these, what they call glotions. I have several other shades of them. And these are the ones that I find women putting on. It's hard to get my glasses on with these curlers. And they're so dirty. These are the ones that, the Lumi glotions in different colors that people are putting on sort of as primers to get that glow to come through their foundation, whatever it is that they use. And I have one or two others. Of course, I have my e.l.f. and I have my CC cream, which is this one. This is a foundation. So I have all these different types of things. Plus, of course, I've got my wonderful, which I still use probably and grab most of the time, my wonderful little color changing makeup. And I don't know whether any of you are using this. This is that white makeup. Okay, this is that white makeup that pretty much turns to your own color. And it is fascinating to watch. Probably right now, this is probably my favorite. And for the times that we had to go out to doctor's appointments, in fact, we have another one tomorrow morning, blood work for Moosey. We have to go over to the hospital. So today is my relaxed day, except for going out, getting my pills, and just chilling all day. But I'm leaning toward liquidy makeup, only because I think it's probably the best for mature skin. Now this is tannish, isn't it? But it's okay. If you hadn't seen me with the normal color changing, you think maybe this might be it. Let me finish my makeup and I will start talking about the circus in a little while because I'm so anxious to talk about it. Now this is my my very favorite of all lipsticks. I'm going to turn it up a little higher. It's a Revlon lipstick. Nice and creamy, stays on, and the color is iced amethyst. I've talked about this for years. This is the one that I use if I'm not going into my bright red, which is a Hollywood red by Rimmel, or when I do my rust colors or brick reds or something, and I use that Revlon Copper Chrome. Got 3 lipsticks that I kind of change, but this is what it looks like before I put my L'Oreal Paris Infallible Glow or a highlighter on top of it. And it's nice and dark. It has that mauvey look, but sometimes I like to lighten it a little bit. And so I will take that L'Oreal highlighter. Gotta get organized here. This is driving me nuts. Which I use on my cheeks, my nose, here and here, as you know. I've told you that for so long. And I will put a little and it gives it a glow and lightens it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do my eyes right now, my eyebrows. And all I've been doing for my eyebrows, by the way, is I have been using my little eyebrow stick. It's really tiny. It looks like it has a color on it, but it doesn't. It's clear, and it's like Vaseline. When you put it on, you are pushing up the hairs and you're getting them to stay. The reason it looks a little colored is probably has makeup on it, but it's almost like putting Vaseline. And I have to keep those lashes trimmed on the top, or you'll see hairs on the top. And then after I use this, there, then I will go ahead and put the color on. And right now, all I've been doing is using my 2 brushes. This for a little pinky brown eyeshadow up here, not much, no more dark. And this for just doing my lower lid just a little bit and filling in my tails on my eyebrows. Not too dark. I suppose there's something else I could use, but for now, this is what I'm filling in because I've lost a lot of the hairs, but I still like that hairy look. I don't like a skinny eyebrow. Okay, now let me do, and I do have to look here with this. I've been told just to go halfway across, so that's what I'm doing. Not all the way. This needs to be skinnier. And then when I put my mascara on, I just try and do a few little lashes on the bottom and here. So let's do a little bit of my pinky brown. Maybe I will be able to settle on a color one of these days. I do need to get another one of these. My favorite colors are just disappearing fast. I blend a little bit of light pink with some light brown, and then just do a little bit up here. And as you can see, it sure is enough to get some color in up there. And as you know, I'm drugstore makeup all the way. At this point, any investments will not be in high-end makeup. And then just to make sure, I do go over it because I don't like it too dark. And then if I'm in the mood and I remember, I would like to put a little bit of white on the lid, but I can't find the right thing to do yet. So Okay, let me finish the makeup. Okay, I think the face is done. I don't know whether I should take out this, let's check and see if I have any curl. Not much, but maybe just enough to do something with it. I still have my LA Girls gel-like polish on in Cabernet. I like the color, so I think I might go with this for a while. Kind of goes with everything. So even though we have some warm weather out there, and we're probably in the 70s, maybe high 70s, it still is a bit chilly. This morning, as I said, you couldn't see your hand in front of yourself with the fog out there, and it is still chilly, but not real bad, but good sweater weather still. Every once in a while, I have to forget the sweaters for a day or two. One of these days, we'll get it right around here. Now, I'm not going to comb this through because I think I'll lose all the curl if I do. And I'll just sort of run my fingers through it. Get it up off my head. Back off the face a little bit. Fixed my hair a little bit. It sort of resembles a bit of the old, what I used to call a page boy. It looked so short, but yet I only cut that much off. You know, it seemed to be longer than that. So getting back to this movie, which just fascinated me. I loved it. The circus itself, I did some research after this movie. Well, I did it actually this morning because it just fascinated me so. And the circus, the actual circus, is about 250 years old. The first circus was started way back in 17-something by a man called Ashby, I believe. And it was mainly with animals and perhaps a trapeze show of some kind, but not much, but mainly animals. And then Ringling Brothers, two brothers, started their own circus, and P.T. Barnum always wanted to be a showman. He was abused as a boy and grew up poor and always wanted to make a name for himself and started this, and eventually it became a hit. He started off with unusual people, clowns and women with beards and Siamese twins and things, and thought that people would be interested in unusual people. Then he added the elephants and the tigers and, of course, the trapeze artists, and it became this whole family of people that became very close, and he developed this very successful business. And I don't want to tell you all about it because you've got to watch it. Eventually, he met Bailey, and he joined. Bailey was from the upper crust, because at that point, Barnum wanted to attract the highfalutin society people to come. He was doing beautifully. Well, you'll have to watch the movie to see everything that happened. But the history of the circus is so fascinating. And it occurred to me, I tried to think, when did the circus die out? Why are we not having circuses come to town and enjoying them with our children and our grandchildren? And the memories that I have of circuses that I attended from the time I was a little girl at Madison Square Garden in New York City. We went in, I bet, almost every year to see the circus. My brothers and I with my mom and dad. What memories? What did I love the most? Honestly, the beautiful costumes of all the girls and the women, and I think it probably was the flying trapeze and the you couldn't pick what you loved. It was the excitement, the cotton candy, the peanuts, the everything was just so unusual and so exciting. And then I remember out here in the West. Now, I do remember, Moosey and I remember going to a circus of some kind in Scotland. We lived over in Scotland for almost 3 years. And I forget where it was. It could have been in Glasgow. Maybe it was Edinburgh. But a circus similar to what you would imagine, maybe not the caliber of Madison Square Garden, but when Colleen and Mikey, those were our last two of six children, and we were living out here in the West in Southern California. I don't think we went to a circus when we were living up north. We lived up in Danville, in outside in the suburbs of San Francisco. And we might have gone to a circus while we were up there. I don't know. But the circus started to, I think the last circus that performed was in May of 2017, and it was in New York. And that was the last circus performance. And I understand a few people have tried to start it up again since then. But the reasons that circuses died out were, number one, the regulations against cruelty to animals, and they presumed that elephants and tigers, where they were trained, were abusive, and so eventually those rules kind of helped to eliminate animals. And then there was a very bad accident in 2014, I believe, where something that was attached to the top of the tent caused an accident, and 4 of the trapeze artists died, and that kind of put a damper on the circus. There were other things too. A lot of socioeconomic things changed. The advent of the computer and various other things that changed the whole way people lived. The kids wanted to stay with their phones. There were other things to do rather than go out and go to a circus. And train costs, they traveling around from city to city with their tents and their animals and all the people was normally done by train, and across the country here, and I'm sure in Europe. And then as the train costs went up, that was too hard to afford anymore. So that was the end of that. One of the other reasons was the Cirque du Soleil, which became quite popular. And I don't know who started that, but that had animals and trapeze artists and everything too. I do remember some of those back in Vegas in the, 70s. When we would go to Vegas, I think Caesar's Palace had some kind of an extravaganza show that involved big, large animals and trapeze art. It was crazy. And then there was Circus downtown, and another one of the hotels, the casinos, had another circus event. Some of them might still be going, I don't know. But the circus as an isolated, wonderful, wonderful event is kaput, unfortunately. But what are your memories of the circus? Hear my cuckoo? Can you see the little cuckoo coming out? Unfortunately, he gets the hours mixed up. He just loves to sing so much, but that's okay. He tells the correct time, but he doesn't cuckoo the correct time. He's doing like 14 or 15 right now. He just wants to be noticed. This is my little $6 thrift purchase right here. And Mosey actually got him working, sort of. So, what I remember as a child it was the preparation of going to the circus. They had flyers all over when the circus would come to town, and the stories that my mom and dad would tell us to get us all excited, and we would go in and had to get the cotton candy right off the bat. And we were absolutely mesmerized by the circus, the music and everything, the crowds screaming. And do you have those memories too? What a wonderful memory for a child to have. I know nowadays they have rodeos and a few other live things that involve animals and things, but nothing like what the circus was. Where did you watch your first circus? What town? Did they have the tents? How long was it there? I know Colleen and Mikey have memories of the circus. They were just little guys, probably around 5 or 6, when the circus came to town here where we live now. and set up their tents in a parking lot down at one of our malls. And we took the kids to that. And afterward, they were giving rides on an elephant. And believe it or not, we actually let Colleen and Mikey have a ride up on top of a big elephant. I can't believe now that we did it, but they'll never forget that. So this movie brought back so many memories, and I hope you look it up. I'm sure it's on Netflix or somewhere. I actually saw it on regular TV. I forget the channel it was on, but as I was switching around trying to find something, it came up, and right as it was starting. So watch it. Hugh Jackman and Michelle Williams and a few other, oh, now that's the bird clock. Ooh, that's a pretty song. I think it was almost 3 hours long too, or 2.5. Just a great movie. Maybe you've all seen it. I thought I had, but hadn't. There are many movies that do center around the circus, and I've seen a lot of those, but not this, the actual beginnings of the circus. Well, I'm going to get ready now to go out and pick up my pills and get a few things at Vaughn's. We have been enjoying Bonnie's prime rib. I gave it to Moosey. I heated it up with some gravy and made a prime rib sandwich on toast for him the other day. And these little cups of cheesecake and raspberry jam on the top were absolutely delicious. I still haven't made my apple pie with those gorgeous apples, but I am going to. So once again, thank you, Bonnie. Wonderful. And so many other things. There's some limes in there too and pears. And we still have to open up those walnuts too. So I have to figure out what to do with all those. We will be having our meeting with the oncologist soon to talk about how we're going to start the management of Moosey's health. And I think we have, we're in the process of being approved, hopefully, for a drug. And we have the spinal thing to see if maybe his neck has improved in healing. So those two we're waiting for. Tomorrow we have some blood work, and on it goes. I have been relegated to the bedroom. Moosey has come in and taken over the front room. He's watching the arrival of the Dodgers and the parade going down the street and the buses, and I'm sure they'll all be going to Dodger Stadium for something going on there too. So I am here trying to finish up this video. Thank you so much for all being here with Moosey and I and enjoying what we do. As you know, originally this was just going to be a family something for posterity purposes for our children. And then it sort of turned into hello, mature ladies of YouTube. And let's all get together and see how we can get through our retirement years. And we do everything from family. As you know, we have this huge family. And you have reminded me recently to keep doing some things. I should jot them down. One of them is you want to know the history of my wedding ring. And one of these days, maybe next week, I'll do this. In fact, this is what I'm going to write down. A lot of you asked me how Moosey got his name, and I explained all that. It was a kindergarten thing. He was a tall boy, and his little buddy, Andy, called him Moose for the first time. And now when little tiny grandchildren say, oh, is that your grandpa? They say, no, he's my Moose. I don't have a grandpa. So he's Moose or Moosey to everyone. I can't remember some of the other questions that I've forgotten. Please remind me of things that I've promised to talk about and keep forgetting. I will do another soup soon. I did one the other day that I don't know whether I told you about, and I think I had it 3 days in a row. Yes, always in the morning too. Even Moosey loved that one. Matthew had gone to El Polo Loco on one of the last nights he was here, he was always bringing food back, and he got one of these rice and beans and chicken salads, and it was huge for Mosi and I. And he had one, no, he had something in the way of hard tacos or something. And so uh, we couldn't finish ours, and I saved them. And the following day, we were kind of fast fooded out. And I said, I'm making a soup tonight, and that's what we're having. He said, oh, good. So I took all this. First, I made my roux, not my roux. I did my holy grail of onions and carrots and celery, and put those in the big pot with some butter and oil. And then I started putting in my broth. I used a couple of those cartons of chicken broth, and I used all the rest of the rice. I did put in an extra can of pinto beans, and all the things that were left in these El Taco, El Polo Loco salads, and they were wonderful. And then I put in some dill and basil and thyme, and that's the way you do. No recipes, just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It was so good. And of course, I did put in a little handful of my squiggly pasta egg noodles. Oh, that was so good. It was not one of those creamy ones. It had a lot of stuff in it, which is what we love. But the taste was out of this world. And I never know what gives it that good taste. Is it all the different spices that I managed to combine or what? But soups are still my love. I think this week I'm going to do, I have some shrimp, nice big giant shrimp, and I have a lobster bisque soup that I'm going to adjust and add to and use that maybe as my base and use the shrimp. So hopefully maybe I'll make it for you in one of the next videos. So this is one of my regular sweaters. It does have a rather large neck, but it's cozy warm. Not quite as heavy as the others, but nice enough to go to the store and keep me cozy when I'll only be out for an hour. And then I'm right back here resting for the rest of the day because tomorrow's a big one. So I hope you enjoyed the makeup. I know it's a bit dark on the dark side, but it doesn't take too long anymore to do makeup. And we do feel better when we do this, don't we? Don't forget to keep pounding your protein, my friends, and keep moving. I know if I spend too much time on this bed, I feel it the next day. So I have to get out with either I use the walker going up and down the driveway just to get those hips and everything move. The best exercises are probably these kitchen squats and heel raises, and you know the drill. Keep your arms going and anything that keeps us moving. Protein number one, movement number two, determination, endurance. We've got to keep all these things going at this point. Thank you all for being here, for supporting us, for subscribing. I love you all, and I'll see you real soon, my friends. Stay well and happy, and God bless us all.